Hello, so it's time to build a microphone. You have your mic box, open it up. You have a page of instructions. And then your microphone itself. Yours will have a red body. This one hasn't been painted. Yours will have been powder coated. A nice pretty IU red. Or possibly a really ugly IU red. We'll see how they turn out. So, I guess I should go back and show you what I just did. So the mic body is in two pieces. The main part of the body and then the screw-on cap. Just unscrew that. And then slide the main part of the body off. Inside you'll have a bag of components. And then the mic, you can sort of see the capsule in there through the windscreen. That you won't take apart. You can, but I don't advise it. It's not something you'll need to do, certainly. And here's a printed circuit board, transformers inside this metal can, and then there's a transformer on both sides, or excuse me, a PC board on both sides. So we're going to start off by organizing our components. One of the things I like to do is make sure that I have all my components laid out and I know what each one is before I start soldering. So this sheet has a list of all your components, what their values are, a little bit of what they look like. For capacitors, it shows you their markings, which it doesn't say microfarad and picofarad. It just has 103, for instance, for 0.01 microfarads. So that'll help you identify them. Because it's sometimes hard to identify them and the resistor color codes are hard to see. I go through them once to know what I have, and then I'll put them on a piece of paper so that I know where they are. So I'm going to start off by taking a piece of paper and some double stick tape. You don't have to do it this way. This is one way to do it. You can also just, as you find each component, put it in. But that's not the way I prefer doing it. So I've got a piece of double stick tape on a piece of paper. So now I'm just going to write down my components. So I'll start with resistors. Got R1, 2, Now, although you can go through and look at the color codes, I still find that difficult because they're small, and so I think it's pretty easy to just use a multimeter. This is different from your lab kit multimeters, but the ones with your kits will certainly work fine. I'll just set it to 400K for right now, thinking that should be close enough. And I'll just measure each resistor and put it where it goes. So 178 kiloohms. So this is most likely 180K. So it's R9. Just stick it on the tape there. Remember, there is some tolerance for these resistors, so they're not going to be exactly right. 147K. Which I'm guessing is R16, which is 150K. This one is 1.7K, which is probably 1.8, yes, or 7. And then we have these two big resistors, which are 1 km. So 1 kilomega-ohm. So they are gigohm resistors. So those are, and those are physically different. So that's R5 and R4. Okay, so we just need, so we're missing 2 resistors, 3 and 6. We had 2 that didn't read what I thought made sense, so we'll go back to those. So one of these is 3.2K, and we need a 1 megohm and a 2K to 3.9K. So this resistor value is set for the transistor that they put in your kit. So this is going to be R6, which says 2K to 3.9K. So you shouldn't trade that resistor with someone else because it should match the transistor in your particular kit. And then this one is 1 megohm, which is what I read, but I didn't see that on the list. So that is R3. And the other nice thing about doing it this way is I know now that I have all my resistors. So now I'll just go on to capacitors. By the time we're done with this, we'll know that we have all the components that we need to build this. By the way, as you're doing resistors, these little guys, I don't know if you can see that on camera. Those are the inductors. They kind of look like resistors, but they're shorter and they're green. Look more like a ball than the tube that resistors look like. So those are your 2 inductors. I'm going to put them on the end here just to hold them in place. That's L1 and 2. Okay. So now going on to capacitors. So this one I'm holding in my hand, and I don't know if you'll be able to see these. Don't think the light's going to be good enough to do this. Let me try and see. So that says 474 on it, which means this is the 0.47 microfarad capacitor, which is C5. So put that there. Make sure I know it's C5 and not C6. And then I've got another one. That says 682. Again, I don't know if you can see that. So that is the 6800 picofarad capacitor, which is C7. There. And then this one I'm actually having trouble reading. So in the lab, we have a magnifying glass that you can use. I have one here too with a light on it. So we'll see if this works. I haven't tried this with a camera before. And this says 68535. So this is a 6.8 microfarad 35 volt capacitor. And this is C12. So these little capacitors are called tantalum capacitors. The one we haven't really seen in our labs. That's C12. 22550. So another 2.2 microfarad. So that's C13. And then the last tantalum we have I think says 22616. No, I'm guessing it says 2216. That one's hard to read. So I think this is 22 microfarad 16. So one of the things we can do is use a testing tool called, in this case it's called an ESR meter, which is effective series resistance. It's a way of measuring capacitors. But this will also tell us the capacitance of this. This one I keep in my office, but we can have it available for your kit time if you need it. And you see it says this is a 22 microfarad capacitor, which is what I thought it was. So that's going to be C4. Capacitors that look like this. And these are ceramic capacitors. This one says 221, which is 220 picofarad, so that is C3. And then the other one says 102. Which is 1000 picofarad, and that's C2. And then we got 3 more capacitors to do. So we've got 331, which is 330 picofarads, and that's C11. And then another ceramic, 331. So another 330 picofarad, so that'll be C10. And I'm just looking at the paper list they gave me to know what values go where. And then this one you might be able to see without the magnifying glass. Maybe not. So it says 151. And that is 150 picofarads. So that is CF, which I didn't write down, but we'll go ahead and mark it up here. CF. And then we got 2 transistors. Again, reading the fronts of these can be difficult. This one is A015. So that's D2. And then the other one should be 2SK170. And notice it says K170. The 2S is typically a manufacturer number, and K170 is the actual transistor number. So this is still a 2SK170, and that's D1. Certainly, if you have any questions about the components and what they should be, ask me and I will be happy to help you. And then also in that package are some wires to connect things with. White, yellow, and blue. So I'm going to put those back in the... Well, I'll go ahead and stick them here too. That way I have everything on this piece of paper that I'm going to need to build it.